2011, Wesley Joseph left Vanuatu to pick apples in New Zealand under the Recognised Seasonal Employer or RSE scheme. Since then, Wesley has taken part in the scheme for 3 successive working seasons.
Mi come back. Mi build him up stove lunia. Stop help me from sometimes scheme close down. Me have got some small interest low stove lumi. Me have help me one bag na. Yes. More some. I mean now look. Nivel house is stop there. Some money go me save me now. Me pay lo semen. After me pay school fee lo half.
Located in the east of the Coral Sea, 100 kilometres north of Vanuatu's capital, Port Vila, the island of Epi rises from the ocean. It is home to approximately 5,000 Ni Vanuatu. Subsistence agriculture and fishing have traditionally been the economic base of the island. Limited employment opportunities have led the growing population to seek jobs elsewhere in other countries, including Australia and New Zealand.
Mi vle no walk with them fatu me mi vle walk lel be mi vle no malaila te time where is skimi gamot se mi vle sabe ko walk lo karam fatu ikam bak lo Vanuatu lo yusum lo Vanuatu
mi ko mi vle lo place kat kan custom we see one boy blow you and me take one woman you must pay make him custom color funded so me got 5 boy. So me go, me him look up, look back, look at my woman, all beginning it for me. Then me make him only married or just. No, me go. Then me come back, me finish him, me make him go to look at everyone. I said, finish now. Go to the independent now. Go to look at them all beginning it look at.
All benefit will be in Kasem lo RSE scheme. Emi bin helping me vela plante plot lo school fee mo plopem school fee plot begini mo lo side lo living blo mi vela mi change living blo mi vela lo island blo mi vela. Yes.
Seasonal labour programmes are widely adopted around the world. In the last decade, both New Zealand and Australia have implemented labour mobility schemes for Pacific Islanders to address seasonal labour shortages in their horticulture and viticulture industries. These labour mobility schemes are increasingly seen as offering a potential triple win, as the schemes benefit the seasonal workers, the sending country and the receiving country.
At the peak of our Hayward Orchards harvest operation, there's 100 workers on site. 60 of those are picking apples and about 40 of those are in the pack house. Out of the 60, 34 of those are RSE workers and the rest are made up of Kiwis or working holiday permit people. The reason we got involved was have consistent labour force that was trained, seasonal workers just as capable, but every year we have to retrain. Their tendency to be here for shorter periods of time was a problem. So having the consistent labour force that was available for us for 7 months was a real win for us. That's the prime reason to go into it. Ownership of the job is a lot easier to get the RSE workers to take ownership of the job because they're returning every year. They get to see the full cycle. They prune the trees, they thin them, they manage them, and then they pick them, and then they come back the next year. So the ownership of that job creates a better work ethic. With the working holiday people, they're in, they're out. It's very hard to get any sort of ownership of the job. So the quality of work I can get out of an RSE worker with that sort of ownership on the job is just you just can't put a dollar value on it. Yeah.
What RSE has done for the people here, I would say, is much more much more valuable to individuals here than what we would see as, the aid that comes in goes to different organizations, and this is like touching the people at the grassroots level. And especially, I see this impact especially with those people living in rural areas and who go out to New Zealand, come back to their rural areas and help to develop their own homes. So I'm really proud of that. I really appreciate, what the scheme has done for these people. And I would really like to see it, continue, and I believe it still has a lot, because our education system here hasn't changed. We get students up to year 6, they drop off, and then they remain here, and I think we have the workforce for the market out there, but when this happens, people sort of tend to learn from each other, because we also have our rules here that if you want to be with the group, our chief has to, give the okay for you to go, because they think you're somebody who, who can behave. And so that has really helped in sort of molding people out here too, in rural areas.
The Pacific Agreement on Closer Economic Relations, or PACER Plus, is creating a robust platform for dialogue on labour mobility that will encourage greater access to the Australian and New Zealand labour markets by seasonal workers from Forum Island countries. The PACER Plus negotiations have already resulted in the lifting of the cap under Australia's Seasonal Workers Programme and an increase in the cap under New Zealand's RSE scheme from 8,000 to 9,000, and the extension of the schemes to new occupational areas of interest to the Forum Island countries.
The PACER Plus comes to galvanize Pacific Island countries' efforts to be able to reach some sense of predictability. I think one of the missing elements under present circumstances is the guarantee that we could be able to have our people, particularly the lower skilled people who would be able to take up employment in Australia and New Zealand, and that is why in the negotiations we have always insisted on having a legally binding agreement through which we could be able to have predictable conditions against which we send our people to work in Australia and New Zealand, and at the same time also I believe Australia and New Zealand could do more by way of increasing the cups of available opportunities that are offered to our people to work in Australia and New Zealand.
There's been some very good discussions around labour mobility in PACER Plus, but it's important to recognise that it's just not about this PACER Plus negotiation or agreement. Certainly when it comes to labour mobility, there's a number of schemes that have been put in place and have been working for quite some time. One of the ones that I'm very excited about, and I think will offer us direction as to where we might go in the future, is around particularly semi-skilled people and how we can best offer them opportunities to increase their skill levels. We have 2 pilots underway in New Zealand at the moment. The first is around fisheries, where a fisherman from Kiribati come to New Zealand and receive training. The second will start in 2006 around construction in Christchurch. And this will be an opportunity, I think, through these trials to look at how best to offer greater education and greater training, to offer qualification that can then be used well in the economies of the Pacific Island countries. After all, through adding skills to your economy, people get to do much more within that economy. It raises the education levels, and it means that services can be provided more easily. It'll also mean that the many benefits of PACER Plus to Pacific Islands will be able to be delivered on more quickly.